All right. Hello, everyone. Looking forward to this conversation. Today, I'm joined by Alex Berman, who I would class as a serial entrepreneur, a few exits under his belt, agency founder, SaaS founder, and even a book author. So I'm sure there's a lot to talk about in this episode, and I'm looking forward to getting into it. So, Alex, for those who don't know you, could you just give us like a quick rundown of who you are and what you do, and then we'll kind of dive into it from there.
Sure. I'm Alex Berman, best-selling author of Cold Email Manifesto. I'm a YouTuber, over 100K subs over there. Blessed to have that. And now we run SaaSes. I run omni.us, which is a cold email tool, the cold email tool, the best on the market, warm up, lead generation, and we write the scripts for you. I've also done a bunch of other SaaSes. We did Taplio and Tweet Hunter, which got acquired for 7 figures. I was only working on that for 3 months before the acquisition, which is pretty sick. And a bunch of other stuff. We sold Lead Shark. We've done a bunch of SaaSes, and now time to do more. That's all I'm doing. I'm working on Omni. That's my main thing.
Time to take over. Okay, cool.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I really want to dive into Omni, but I think we would do the viewers a disservice if we didn't dig into some of your past, because there's so much going on. So how long have you been, like, I guess, running or operating businesses? How long have you been in the game?
Businesses in general, maybe 8 years. Since college. I'm 31 right now, so I'm starting to get older. I started doing this when I was maybe 21, 22. I'm a freelancer. I was selling copywriting services to restaurants. That was working okay. Then I got a job in New York. I was doing cold calls for various companies, and then working at an agency after that. So I've always had
Okay.
side projects and stuff. Things didn't really start heating up until I was director of marketing at this agency, and then they became my first client. So instead of promoting me or giving me a raise, they became my first client, and that was X27, which became our agency, and then we started growing from there.
Sure. So X27 was like your first, I guess, venture outside of being like a freelancer. Is that correct?
First successful agency, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And is that still going today, X27?
It's still going at a much smaller level. Basically, now it's starting to become the fulfillment arm for Omni. So basically, Omni has the cold email
Mm.
side of things, but you can also get cold email as a service. And X27 is the fulfillment partner for that. Plus, we have other clients, like a couple dozen clients, but it's really not the priority for us.
Nice. Okay, that's a interesting funnel going on there. I like that. So you've got X27, which is like the fulfillment arm of Omni. What other businesses or kind of, I guess, ventures have you got going on? Because I think you're quite active on like YouTube, and I saw today on Twitter you're now it seems like you're now running like an Instagram page. Like there's so much going on. So what's currently taking up like all of your focus? Oh yeah, at the moment.
The Instagram page, Berman Family Official, or Bermantown, is one I do with me and my wife. We do like memes and family content. That one, we're at 1,200 followers in 4 days. So I'm just,
Nice.
I really think anytime content hits like that, it's very sick. So some of our reels now have over 1 million views. We've only posted like 8 reels. And so
Wow.
whenever
Wow.
that happens, I'm like, oh shit, we got to actually do something with it.
Double
In
down.
the tweet you were talking about it was Bermantown's growth compared to Every Burger in Vegas, which was my food channel, still is my food channel on YouTube, where I do burger reviews. And that one took 2 years to get to 1,100 subs. And then the
Wow.
Instagram channel has already gained 60 followers since I posted that screenshot a couple hours ago. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can see the difference in the growth. That was the main thing. It's like I do a ton of shit, but
Yeah.
some stuff is just it's the whole point is you want to find stuff that hits and then move on from the other stuff.
Of course, of course. So with the how many YouTube channels do you have? Do you like have multiple channels in different niches, or?
Yeah, so currently active YouTube channels that are publishing. We've got the Alex Berman channel, which does cold email, and then Every Burger in Vegas, which does burger reviews. I'm also doing Best Meals on Earth, which is me and my brother Terrence eating fancy meals around the United States. That one's not doing as well. Then we also have a Star Wars podcast with my other brother, and
Wow.
we have one on watches, History's Greatest Watches. That was running for about a year. Um, Ton of them,
Yeah.
bro. Oh, Crazy Money had over 1,000 subscribers. That was like stocks and making crazy options plays.
That's crazy. And do you have like how do you fulfill on all of this? Do you have like a team that I guess obviously you have to do the recording, but is it pretty hands off in terms of like the post production stuff, maybe scripting and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, so the production process we have down. Right now I'm filming at our house in Chandigarh, so my team's actually over there eating because we're
Oh
doing
wow.
YouTube videos right now for our main channel. So today we've done, I think, 3 YouTube videos and 14 or 15 shorts. So I just grind, bro. That's what it's all about.
Wow. Content media house.
Content.
Okay.
That's the thing that fuels me. You know, some people really get off on making cold calls. I just really like making content, and that's
Yeah.
one reason why we keep making more channels is because I haven't been fulfilled, honestly, by any of the growth of any of these channels yet. So I'm trying to find one. Bermantown might be the one. I'm trying to find one that gets like millions of subscribers because then I feel like
Yeah.
then I would be finally satisfied.
Wow. Okay. Well, so my next question, because you do a lot, and so my next question was just simply going to be why? Like why, there's a there's an argument for that you should kind of just focus on the main thing and not I guess dilute that focus too much. But it seems like you kind of are diluting your focus across like multiple hustles, ventures, stuff like that. Like why is that? Is it hoping, one of them is going to be the big bet, or yeah, I'd be interested to know.
For me, it's boredom. So what is it right now with Omni? You know, like right now, Omni is a couple different parts. Like they're building and they're improving the tool. We're generating free trials. The sales team is out there, sending cold emails and booking sales calls and closing deals. And then it just comes down to like, what am I going to do? Could I come up with more Omni features? Sure, but our backlog is already, 30 pages long. Like there comes a time in every company when it's like more ideas aren't going to help. You need the team that you hired to actually do the work. And it's the same with almost everything. Like every burger in Vegas, it's probably time for another pivot, but we filmed 2 years of content. The Alex Berman YouTube channel, we filmed a year of content in a row. Now we're doing, every 2 weeks we're doing content. We had pivoted back. But these businesses, they don't take a lot of time. And what I found is like, what would I rather do? Would I rather work on one business and then spend 99% of my time on YouTube watching garbage? Or would I rather work on 30 businesses, get fulfillment out of that, and still spend 20% of my time on YouTube watching garbage? I'd rather take the second one.
Okay, got it. Okay, you like to stay busy. Okay, no, it's
Mm-hmm.
interesting. I guess so. What's your? I think favorite's the wrong word, but like what business gives you most or venture? What one gives you like the most fulfillment and enjoyment? Like what's because it must get. I imagine it must get like a bit mundane sometimes, perhaps, or a lack of motivation. What's the one that kind of gives you energy?
No, they all give energy. The Alex Berman YouTube channel, like we're going hard right now. I was just filming I filmed a full masterclass that's going to be the lead magnet for our YouTube for our Instagram funnel, which is now running as a separate funnel to all of our other funnels. Like, no, I'm super hyped on that. I'm super hyped on Bermantown because it's a B2C platform that we can use to launch apps instead of B2B platform, which is like our Alex Berman brand. I like the book. We're writing a whole nother book right now. I'm 11 chapters into the edit. We'll probably be done in another couple weeks. Like, no, dude, I'm only
Wow.
doing things that are keeping me hyped up, and it's the ultimate in shiny object syndrome. But I also happen to deliver on the shiny objects. It's very
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so let's talk about that delivery. So obviously you exited Taplio recently, which was like a big exit. Definitely if like you're on Twitter, you would have heard of it. What other ventures have you exited from? Like how many times have these side hustles, these ventures ended in that kind of, that pinnacle moment?
Taplio was our biggest one so far, but we only started doing SaaS like a year ago, and we've
Wow.
sold every single SaaS that we've touched. So the first one we did was Simple Apps, which was a group of Shopify apps. That one peaked at about $400 a month, and we sold it for 6,000. The next one we did was BotFuse, which was a chatbot thing. We couldn't even get a single customer for that, but we had the base, whatever the software itself, sold for 10,000. Then the
Wow.
next one after that was Lead Shark, which was our lead generation database. We got that to a couple thousand in revenue, and we actually sold that to the parent company of Omni, for 100K. So the
Wow.
investors that did Omni bought Lead Shark out from one of us, and then now we're doing Omni. Taplio, Tweet Hunter. It's one big company. Pony Express was the one that was sold. I didn't even know I owned Tweet Hunter until the day it sold.
That's interesting. What were like your before we move on, because man, I feel like we could spend the whole episode talking about your past. What were like your roles and responsibilities at Pony Express?
I was doing growth for Taplio, so recruiting influencers, getting logos on the website, just basically getting our trials up however we could. And I did all sorts of various schemes for that. The first one was a launch campaign. We cloned what worked with the Tweet Hunter launch, where Tweet Hunter had J.K. Molina, leading the way with his influencer group. We did the same thing with our influencer group, and that added, I think, 10 to 12,000 in MRR in like 2 weeks, which is pretty sick. We basically were like, it was, you could get Taplio plus our course LinkedIn X for free, which was worth $250. So everyone signed up for that, and I think we must have generated 1,000 credit card free trials off that. It was insane.
Wow.
So I did that. We needed to get logos for the websites. We needed a bunch of enterprise clients at one point. So I just started emailing these LinkedIn influencers, and I got us Tesla, Moody's, Prezi, McKinsey, a bunch of these other guys just by cold emailing. So I did that for them, and all the marketing shit, like I filmed all these videos, like all the tutorials, all the little videos inside of Taplio or me. I did the VSL for their landing page. Came up with the name. I bought the domain Taplio for $700.
Nice. We love a good domain. Okay, so basically, growth. That's the best way I would summarize it. And I'm active on Twitter, so like I was watching the journey of Tweet Hunter, Taplio, or Pony Express. That was acquired by Lempire, I think they call themselves. Are you happy with the acquisition? There are some people have an opinion that perhaps the multiple was a bit on the low side, but still $1 million, right? Over $1 million. Like, is that something? Were you personally happy with that, or do you think maybe could have gone for more?
No, dude, I have mixed feelings. I had to hire a mindset coach to get through it. Imagine thinking you're worth 10 million and getting 1 million, or thinking you're worth 1 million and getting 100,000. It's just stupid. It's fucking stupid, bro. But it is what it is. You play some. You know what it was? It was the largest play that we've done this far, and I'm very confident in our ability to do it again with Omni and do it 100 times bigger. So that's really all. That's really all you can do. You can negotiate stronger contracts next time, and you can just keep moving forward. That's all you can do with it.
There's a lesson in everything, and sometimes we talk about that, like lessons, when we're referring to failures, but I think you've gained a lot of lessons and also gained a lot of money at the same time, so it's kind of like a golden lesson. So I think it's just for the next one, like for Omni and for others, you'll probably maybe do things a bit differently to get a kind of different outcome. But I definitely wouldn't see it as like I wouldn't personally see it as a negative situation. I mean, like,
No. What it is it's just like, we talk about starting businesses, we talk about validation. And what I validated with the Pony Express situation was what I call the RAGE method, which is research, acquire, grow, and sell, right? Research, make a list of companies, reach out to those founders using cold outreach to try to acquire a piece, then grow them as much as you can, and then exit. Research, acquire, grow, exit, which is exactly what we did on Taplio. And it's exactly what we're doing now with Omni. I found my Omni co-founders on Twitter the same way. Just cold DM. I flew out to Bangalore, met with them, and let's go. The guys who funded Omni have $6 million a year in other SaaS. And so they saw Omni as the next big bet for them. So that's the main thing that I validated. I validated that this model of partnering with people that already have successful SaaSes and then growing either new SaaSes or growing their current SaaS to the point where they can sell works very, very well. And if you look at the deals that we've done so far, like the 5 exits, each one has been bigger than the last. And so number 6 should be 10 times bigger than the last one. So when Omni sells, if Omni sells, maybe it'll IPO, who knows? If Omni sells, it's going to be bigger than any of that. And then the next one after that is going to be even bigger. So that's all I'm looking at.
Okay. Yeah. So last question before we dive into Omni, because there's a few things I want to dive into there. So I don't know, perhaps I'm I'm overestimating it here, but you seem like a bit of an OG when it comes to cold email, right? Like I've read your book, Cold Email Manifesto. I think it was either free or really cheap. I think it was, and
99 cents
like
on Amazon.
yeah, yeah. And for someone who has done a fair bit of cold emailing, I wouldn't say I'm a kingpin. I used to be an SDR as an employee, so very familiar with like the old way of cold emailing and now the new way. And I learned a lot from it as well. How I kind of already know the answer to this, but I want to dig into more detail. Like how um, impactful has like the power of cold email been for you? Like it seems like it's opened so many doors. Like what are some of those doors that it has opened?
Sure. I met the co-founders of Pony Express via cold Twitter DM, first of all. So talk about cold outreach in general. Got us
Mm,
this exit. Um, I got my first job with cold email, knowing nobody in New York City. I basically we scaled another lead generation company to over $1 million a month in like 2017 before it all fell apart. I talked about that in chapter 1 of the book. That was all cold
yeah.
email and going to events. So it's everything you want. I used to run an animation company, and we met a bunch of celebrities using cold email the same way. Uh, helped my brother start a ghostwriting agency. Same thing, just emailing famous authors. So it really is the great leveler. You can meet anybody, and you can, as long as you have a good pitch for them, you can get them to work with you or at least hear you out, which you can't say with ads. You can't say with SEO. That's
Mm,
why that's the main thing I like about cold email. And so it helps you do anything. Even with Bermantown, this one, when I wanted to grow it, there's a couple ways we're going to grow. We're going to grow with good content. We're going to grow with advertising. We're going to grow with shout outs. How do you get influencers with 100K plus followers in your niche to follow you back on Instagram? Well, send them a really good cold DM. That's exactly what happened.
mm,
So it's all the same skill.
mm. Interesting. Okay. And I agree. I think there's so much there's a lot of like negative stigma attached to like cold outbound. I think you know a high percentage of the population are just like so anti-sales in general, and so it gets a lot of stick. But for me, it's opened a lot
This
of
is
doors too.
well, this is the way I think about it, bro. Let's say Mark Cuban didn't know Bill Gates, or let's say like Elon Musk didn't know Bill Gates. What's he gonna do? How's he gonna meet him? His assistant is gonna send a cold email to Bill Gates' assistant. So even at
Mm,
the highest levels, the billionaires, the richest people in the world, are using cold email to succeed. You have
mm.
access to the exact same tool as them, and you're choosing not to take advantage of it because it seems scammy. Tell me again why you're smart for thinking that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, sales like businesses wouldn't exist without sales anyway. So I think it's flawed. Okay, so why did you start Omni?
I started Omni because I'm just pouring some water in here. I started Omni because I was on the golf course with Amit, who was running First Principles, and we were talking about Sujit Patel, and I think he really wants to be Sujit Patel deep down, the founder of Mailshake. And so like we were just playing golf, and I was like, "You like Sujit? You know what he has? Cold email tool." And then Amit was like, "Well, I want a cold email tool too." I was like, "All right, sick, let's build it." And then we
God,
got it.
wow. Okay, just like that, very spontaneous.
Omni's been in development for a long time. It took us a long time to make it. It was started about a year ago, maybe a year, 2 months ago. So before
Wow.
Smart Lead came up, before Lemless bought us, before even Instantly started, like Omni has been in development. It's been a very slow process to get the devs uh, to get it
Wow.
going, but it's fun, dude. SaaS isn't easy.
Yeah, yeah, and I want to dig into that because I think there's a lot of misconceptions. But let that's interesting. So you said it was difficult to get the devs to like move. What were some of the obstacles you faced there? Was it just like being one of the first movers? You kind of had to create the playbook, or like what were the struggles there?
We pivoted part of the way through. So it started as just a normal cold email tool, and then the cold email market evolved when companies like it actually happened when Instantly hit their AppSumo lifetime deal.
Mm,
The cold email market evolved from, let's say, the Lemlist era to the Instantly era. Lemlist era being one email account, personalized, all this stuff. to the instantly era, which is unlimited emails, unlimited sending. So once the market evolved, I didn't want to launch a lemlist style tool into a market that has clearly evolved on. So we had to make some changes there. And then it's taken a long time to build these features. I don't know. I'm not a dev. That's also probably my issue. I'm not a developer, so I trust them. I just started sitting in on their daily stand-ups now, and I'm putting a lot of pressure on them now, which I wasn't before.
Yeah. They give you a written update and you're just like, yeah, sounds good. No idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, it's basic stuff like they wanted to do, or they have been doing pushes every 2 weeks. They've been doing, their sprints are 2 weeks long, and you think that's good enough, right? 2 weeks, yeah, every 2 weeks. But then you look at the app and it's progressing so much slower compared to your competitors. And then I was looking at their code and I was like, well, you guys write code every day. Why can't we push code every day? And they're like, oh, it leads to bugs. But I'm like, isn't the main app, it's got some bugs anyway? How much buggier could it be? And then now they wouldn't do daily, but now we're doing weekly pushes and daily hot fixes at least. Nice. Like it's just little stuff. They really want some shit like in a very specific way that I can't wrap my head around, maybe because I'm not a developer. Sure. I know for us, we need to move fast and we need things. I would rather have a buggy app that is fully featured and has, works in the right way than have an app that is perfectly lined up, but is, only 10% of what the market wants.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. I think that's why it's so important to have like somebody on the product side, which is separate to the development, because I think really somebody should be setting the vision, and then the CTO, the developers are responsible for like building that vision. And if you have somebody doing both, it brings in a lot of like sometimes unneeded complexity, sometimes features and releases that maybe aren't aligned with like the commercial aspect of the business. And so I think having that product side is really, really important. And sometimes because you're separated from the developers, I think it's easier to move things along quicker, because obviously the developer, how long it's going to take, and that causes friction and stuff like that. So I think it's really important to have that product side. How has it been like operating in such a competitive market? Instantly launched, they've been around for like a year now. Smart Leads launched, I'm not sure when, but maybe last 6 months. You've got tools like Maility, which it's all very similar in the sense of unlimited accounts, like that kind of, let's call it cold email, 0.2 or 2.0 or whatever you want to call it. How has it been operating in that competitive market?
It's really 3 or 4.0. I'm not a cold email historian, but there really was like the Mailshake era, which was like just sending cold email scripts in low volume. Then there was the Lemlist era. Lemlist, a big thing that they invented was they really took our concept of the first line and renamed it the icebreaker. So the more personalized cold emails, the Hyperize integrations, that sort of stuff. And then there was the Instantly, which is the unlimited sending, which I can't take credit for. I can just take credit for the Lemlist stuff, the warm up and the first line. So how do all these tools survive? Well, okay, so the market we're in is called Martech, marketing technology. And marketing technology companies are things like HubSpot and Salesforce, and all the CRMs are Martech. And what's interesting about the technology that we offer, that all of us offer, Instantly, Smart Lead, all these guys, is all of our apps at the end of the day make the customers money, right? Omni makes the customers money. Instantly makes the customers money. HubSpot makes the customers money. So the thing that drives us is aggressive sales. That's it, right? Does it matter if you use Salesforce or HubSpot? Not necessarily. So how are you going to choose? Well, it's which salesperson do you like the best? Which SEO optimized articles are you reading that you like the best? And it's the same with cold email tools. As long as you have the right features, like I would be scared if I was Mailshake right now, falling behind, or I'd be scared even if I was Lemlist, falling behind and missing market shifts. But as long as you're in line with what the market wants, then it just comes down to whose salespeople are more aggressive.
Got it. And so at the very beginning, I think you said, well, you have like a sales team. My understanding of Omni is that it's mainly product led, right? Like people sign up for like an account, like self-service. Are your sales reps like doing outbound? Are they taking sales calls? Like how does that sort of growth process look like?
We're doing outbound. I'd say
Of
like
course.
only 30% of our meetings are outbound right now. We're optimizing to increase it. We get a lot of inbound from our YouTube channel and everything. Um,
Nice.
right now, the way it works is you sign up for Omni, you put in your credit card. You need to put in your credit card to check out the free trial. A lot of people do not credit card free trials. I hate SaaSes like that. I haven't had a SaaS like that work. All the SaaSes I've done, they've only succeeded if you do a credit card free trial. And then once you put in your card, then you can book a call with the team, and they'll help you get onboarded on Omni, and then also sell you on the packages.
Nice. So you uh you can't use the product without booking a call. Is that, or am I?
You can't use the product without putting in your credit card. You can use the
Okay.
product without booking a call. We're thinking
Okay, good.
about switching because what I think is if you're forced to jump on the phone with somebody and get set up, churn rate is just going to drop. That's the other big issue with all marketing technology companies, because there are so many of them and because they all kind of do the same thing. The churn rate on Martech as an industry is higher
Mm,
than average. And I know
mm,
even with Taplio, I think we're at 30-40% churn rate. We're at even higher than that on Omni. We're fighting to keep it down. So
mm,
those churns, you got to get those annual packages. You have to sell even multi-year deals in order to
mm,
fight this. Versus if we're in any different industry, it'd be a lot easier. Like First Principles, the company who is behind Omni as well. There are other SaaSes in real estate, and their churn rate is like 3%. And so they're actually doing less sales per month than Omni, but because their churn rate is lower, their growth trajectory just looks like it's a lot higher.
mm.
So fighting in this industry, I wouldn't pick this industry for my next business. I know that for a fact. I'll pick something boring next time.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, so as somebody who did retention in SaaS, like it obviously acquisition sales is the sexy part of business, right? Everyone likes those new invoices coming through, but there becomes a certain point where if you don't get your churn in control, like you've just got this leaky bucket problem. And I know what you mean. When you're in a competitive market, your offer basically becomes a commodity because they're like, well, there's like 10 other products doing what you're doing. That one's cheaper. I'm going to go with those guys. And so I think building that human connection, whether it be hopping on a sales call, whether it be having a CSM who like reaches out to new users and tries to onboard them and make sure they're set up. I think that's really, and customer support. I think that's really like how you stand out. I know a previous SaaS company I worked at, we were like the underdog. It was in cybersecurity, and so we were competing with tools like these big American tech companies, and people would leave them and come to us, even though we would be more expensive and as a smaller company not move as fast. They would come to us just because of the customer support. They would say, well, it takes me 48 hours to get a response from those guys. You respond in 20 minutes and you actually care. You're not just palming me off. So yeah, I think that human connection, a lot of people don't think about that. They kind of just want everything to be automated and not speak to anyone. But I think it is the way you stand out and like the community you build around it as well, like YouTube and stuff like that. I think that's really important. So you've talked about First Principles a few times. They bought one of your companies. So is it fair to assume you've raised investment? Is this like is there venture capital behind this?
We've raised a little bit, and we're mid raise, so I can't talk about the numbers, but we're mid raise right now. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. And how, I guess, because from my understanding, Pony Express was like bootstrapped. I don't know about your previous company, but what are your thoughts on sort of bootstrap versus going down the sort of venture backed way?
I don't know how I feel anymore, bro. I think my next one, I'm not even gonna have co-founders. I'm just gonna fucking sell some random shit and see. At some point, you just got to go in it alone and see what happens.
Okay.
Venture is cool because it lets you play at a bigger level than your actual business is. Like you could be
Yeah.
making 1,000 a month and spending 20,000 a month, which is great. Or like Omni, I think we're making 20 something thousand a month and spending 14,000 some months and 18,000 some other months. Like it's cool to be able to spend without worrying too much about it. Now we're profitable, which is sick. But I like that. I like the ability to do that, because let's say we raise like a couple $1 million, we can burn. Don't tell the investors this. We can burn like 500K of that on random experiments and
Yeah.
still have enough money to survive. The
Yeah.
hardest part for businesses, the thing that fucks everyone's mindset up a lot of the time, but messes my mindset up too, is not knowing where the money's going to come in the next month or even the next week. Because if you're worried about where that check's going to come from next week, you're going to be acting in a very short-term way. But if you're set up for the next 6 months, for the next 8 months, for the next like 3-4 years, now all of a sudden you can start acting like you're going to be around for the next 3 or 4 years. Which, aside from SaaS, that's the biggest thing I got from the Taplio Pony Express acquisition. I have cash in the bank now, where I have a house, like I have a YouTube set that we're building that we've invested thousands of dollars in. Like I've got a team now that's doing all this stuff. Like these are all decisions that you can make when you have years of cash in the bank. You can't make those same decisions when you only have a month of salary before you run out again.
Yeah, I definitely see it. Everyone loves cash in the bank. It gives you that security. There's something to be said though, where, obviously you don't want to be running like paycheck to paycheck, month to month. Like, am I going to make it or not? But there's something to be said for that sort of situation where it is, kind of survival mode. And so that sometimes that putting you in that position, it can work in your favor. But I do agree. It's definitely good to have like a runway and have a bit more of a safety net, be able to experiment a bit more rather than every bet you make being like life or death.
The thing that put me in that mindset is now my journey is to make $1 billion. So I'm like, now, I used to wake up and be like, oh shit, how am I going to make like $3,000 this month? Now I wake up and I'm like, oh shit, how am I going to make $1 billion? So I'm trying to trick myself the same way. Like my back is to the wall because I don't have the billion yet. So I get hyped the same way, but the ideas are now different. Like the SaaSes that I started, the business ideas that I've had now are $1 billion potential, or I can't even think about them. I don't even entertain them.
Yeah, but that's why these lessons, like whether you view them as negative or positive, are so important, right? Because it's transformed you into this person who is now thinking $1 billion rather than 5K a month, 10K a month. So that's why I think like everything has a lesson. For Omni, how did you get your first 10 users? I could probably make a confident guess, but
so I just tweeted, bro. I just sent a tweet. I was like, what was it? Want to beta test a new cold outreach tool? Like this tweet, and I'll send more info. And then we got like 100 likes. And then I did auto DM using Tweet Hunter, and then it just sent them a link to the sales page. The access was them putting in their credit card, and we got I think 20, which 50% conversion rate turned into 10 paying customers.
Nice,
easy, bro. Fucking launching B2B SaaSes is easy as balls, especially when it's aligned with the market.
Well, I think also highlights the importance of a personal brand, right? Like there aren't many people who could put out a tweet like that and get their 10, especially when you look at like the indie hacker community, people are busting their balls to get their first 10 users. And it's like, that's the milestone, forget 10K MRR and all that stuff. Just getting their 10 first users.
I remember listening to a podcast it was like Stelly and Heaton Shaw, who do this startup podcast. And I remember them talking about like your first 10 customers, your first 100 customers, your first 1,000 customers. And me as an agency owner, we had like 12 customers. I'm like, your first 1,000 customers, that's insane. But then when you start a SaaS, you realize 1,000 customers, they'll come to you. Like it's all there in the funnel. If you get a certain number of trials, it's right there.
Yeah. Well, that's why you do software, right? An agency could never. Well, maybe there are agencies out there with 1,000 customers, but sounds like a life not worth living. It'd just be too chaotic. What channels are driving most of your signups now? Did you say? I think you might have said YouTube, or you said most of them come inbound. Like what channels specifically are they coming from?
YouTube, Twitter, and now we finally started pushing hard on Instagram and LinkedIn. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. So it's just our personal brand. That's really, we don't have very many followers on our corporate Instagram. We don't have anything. It's just like, I make YouTube videos. I used to talk about email 10K. Now I talk about Omni. I used to put the book as the auto plug. Now I put Omni. Things like that, just nonstop building funnels and things like that.
Interesting. So how does that work on Instagram? Because I'm not the most active user, but I don't see a lot of B2B companies like trying to sell their product on Instagram, because it's kind of a different, the audience, different level of awareness. Is it like more of like a personal brand funnel where you're kind of, I guess, pitching the value proposition of cold email, and then it's like, well, hey, here's a tool to do that. Is that kind of how you're doing that, or?
Yeah, it's the same thing as YouTube. Very low awareness. So you just talk about actually just like high level business stuff that's going to go viral, like 3 tips from Gary Vee, or like reacting to this tweet, reacting to this TikTok, and then
Okay.
plus like Twitter threads, and then you
Yeah.
force them into push them into a funnel using some kind of giveaway similar to what we do on Twitter. Then they sign up
Nice.
for that, and then they're on our email list. And then once they're on the email list, it's the same as any other funnel. You just hype them up on whatever you want to sell them that week.
Nice. Okay, cool. Got it. Okay, last few questions because I want to respect your time here. So what do you think the future of cold email looks like? There's a few things going on recently with like warm up. I guess maybe a bit of fear mongering about like the likes of Google cracking down on it. Like, what do you think the future looks like, 6, 12, 24 months from now?
Future could look like the past, meaning I think we're going to move away from high volume cold email. If there is a constant race with the spam blockers, like, yeah, sending 1,000 cold emails just won't work if Google's machine learning is getting smarter. And it is, all AI is getting smarter. And
Mm,
what's going to happen? Like, AI is going to be writing cold emails. AI is going to be identifying spam,
mm,
and what's going to happen? Like, it's going to stop working as well. So you're going to
mm,
have to move to other omni channels. The only reason why cold email works is because a CEO checks their email. If they stop checking their email and instead they're looking at Twitter, then you're going to have to switch to Twitter marketing. If they start hanging out at conferences and throwing their iPhones in the trash, you're going to have to start going to conferences. So
mm.
that's the way to think about it. Where's cold email going in the future? I am still very bullish on it. I think cold email is going to be around because everyone still uses email. When people stop using email, cold email will stop working. But everyone still uses email.
Yeah, I agree. I can't see it going anywhere. I can't see the power of cold email going anywhere. I can just see the barrier to entry getting higher. Um, yeah, like you said, as these platforms get smarter and it's kind of a good thing, right? They should be fighting against spam, right? Spamming and cold email, two different things. And so, yeah, I think just the barrier to entry is definitely going to get a bit higher.
Spamming and cold emailing are two different things, and the line has gotten blurrier with
mm,
tools like Omni as well, with the unlimited sending, because they make it easy
mm,
to send personalized outreach at scale, but it also makes it easy to spam. And in the past, those were harder to come across. These were like black hat tools 5 years ago that you
yeah,
couldn't even buy, and now they're just tools that everyone uses. It's not
yeah,
like people didn't know how to send unlimited emails and do inbox rotation 5 years ago. It's just they didn't want to do that because it was scammy and
yeah.
morally wrong. Now it's fine. So the
That's
market
yeah.
just evolves that way.
Well, those guys probably like, you know, hitting themselves that they didn't like. Well, they probably tried to capitalize on it, and everyone pointed their fingers at them. And now the market has moved to a stage where it's perfectly reasonable. That's super interesting. What do you think is a common misconception people have about SaaS? Because there seems to be, again, on like I know Twitter is a very small bubble, right? Money Twitter, even smaller bubble, but there seems to be a lot of hype around like starting a SaaS company. What do you think of as somebody who has started, still operates and has exited like multiple SaaS companies? What do you think are some like common misconceptions that people have?
Common misconception is it's going to be cheap. I haven't spent less than 6 figures on a SaaS yet, dude. Lead Shark was 100K or 70K or something. Omni's
Mm,
200K. Like this isn't fun, dude. I mean, it's not like funny money. Like you sit there on
mm,
a golf course, you think this idea is going to be $1 billion, and then you're in 200K in the hole, and your thing's only making 20K a month. And I used to look back and see the people bragging about 20K a month and be like, oh shit, that guy's doing so well. But when you're slowly inching back your 200K on your 20K a month, it doesn't feel the same.
mm,
So I would say that's a misconception. Like, don't just go with any idea. Think through the opportunity and how easy it's going to be to start the SaaS. Um,
mm,
and then I would say the exact opposite is also good advice. So misconception two is SaaS is hard. I don't think so. I've had an easier time getting SaaS customers than I have for the agency because
mm,
there's no cold email funnel. There's no anything. It's like all I'm doing is asking for a free trial. That works so much better. That
mm.
conversion happens so much faster than it does to, let's say, get a university to buy an app for $250,000. That might take
Fair.
7, 8 months
Yeah.
versus a SaaS, they might sign up in a couple minutes. or even
Okay.
in seconds, and they're going to be the same Fortune 500 companies.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I think, yeah, well, it's friction, right? The free trial, if you don't like it,
Mm-hmm.
you cancel. Whereas slightly different if you just wired
Yeah.
250K. Okay.
Misconception. Another third one is on the profit margins. People think that SaaS is a higher profit margin than agency work, but if you're a freelancer, your profit margin is 100%. Like you could go do Twitter ghostwriting for 5K a month, get 5 clients, and make 25K all profit.
Yeah.
It's not the same with SaaS. Like you've got
Mm.
Amazon Web Services you have to pay, you've got developers you have to pay. Like, there's a lot of costs that go into this.
Yeah.
So most people who want SaaS really would be better off as freelancers. You'd get more freedom and you'd make more money.
Yeah. I think just in business as a whole, as a freelancer, because sounds great, being a big business, but comes with the team, comes with the extra overheads, comes with the extra stress. So yeah, that's some good advice. What does the future look like for Omni? How do you plan to take over the world?
As we add more features and we get stronger, we're basically going to have a tool where you pay us, 10 cents and you make $30. And anytime you have a tool like that, it's just going to be our responsibility for telling as many people as possible about it. And that's going to be that.
Nice. Okay,
Basically,
cool.
step one is get it working to the point where it's printing money for the customer, and then
Yeah,
tell as many people as possible.
got it. All right, sounds good. Okay, last two questions. What are two books or like resources you'd recommend to the audience if they want to learn more about SaaS?
If they want to learn more about SaaS,
Or I can broaden it a bit more. Just like entrepreneurship, business, succeeding in business.
succeeding in business. So the first one that never really sunk in for me, maybe it's a bad book recommendation. There's this book called Traction, which is all about, it's by the founder of DuckDuckGo. And it's all about the bullet hook framework, which is identifying a channel, doing market testing on that to figure out what works, and then using that to grow your SaaS. You don't actually even have to read that book. Just Google bullet hook framework and grab that chart. I just use that chart as inspiration. In terms of inspiring books, there's one by the Nike founder called Shoe Dog that is the best written business biography of all time. Will really grip you. And then for improving a business, Onward by Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks, is that's the one I've read the most times, 5-6 times. It's all about how Howard Schultz took 10 years off from CEO of Starbucks, and then he came back, and all of the stuff that he changed when he came back to reignite Starbucks' growth. And I think about that all the time because all businesses are in a constant state of revitalization. I just had to do it at Omni with moving from the twice weekly to the daily. And the more you can do that revitalization, the stronger your companies will become. And so I highly recommend that second one, Onward by Howard Schultz.
Nice, cool. I haven't actually read that one. I've read the others. Okay, cool. All right, well, let's finish it there. Thank you so much, Alex. Where can the viewers find you, learn more about what you're doing?
Well, if they're watching this on YouTube, they can just go on over to Alex Berman on YouTube. We've got over 100K subs now. All sorts of free content over there, and you get everything you want. If you want us to write your cold email scripts, you want 38 more meetings this month for free, go on over to omni.us. You get that free trial right there, and you get all your cold email scripts, omni.us.
Sounds good. All right, go check him out. And to the viewers, if you found this interesting, please leave a like and subscribe. We've got some more interviews coming out in the coming weeks. Cheers. Peace.
Thanks, Liam.